because it was just busy and I just didn't shave. My wife made a big mistake with saying, "You're not growing a beard, are you?" And I go, "Bing." The last time I had one was 35 years ago, and she didn't like it. Yes.
Jack. Jack.
There is a purpose. Oh.
I went to his office for a meeting today and it was so hot in there that I was perspiring. I had to go home and shower. I was sweating all over. His office is so hot.
Would you like a cookie?
I just woke up and there it was.
You didn't shave today.
No.
Not bad for one day's growth, huh?
Yeah.
Linda.
That's not what I did.
I'm trying to make sure that you miss me when I'm gone.
Madam Mayor, Mr. Simpson is at a cemetery district meeting, and whenever that's over, he will be here.
We're going to start this now. Welcome to the Oroville City Council meeting, December 6, 2016. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Barry,
Here.
Councilmember Del Rosario,
Yes.
Councilmember Hatley, Councilmember Pittman,
Here.
Councilmember Simpson, Vice Mayor Chan Wilcox,
Here.
Mayor Dahlmeyer.
Here. Let's convene to close session. Session, direction given, no action taken. Stand with me
And
for the,
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
we do need to reconvene to close
and we
session
do
for
need to
items
reconvene because we didn't finish closed
2,
session.
3, and 4.
Items 2, 3, and 4. Please stand with me for the pledge. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I need to do roll call again, Jamie, or can you just acknowledge? Roll call.
You gotta add Simpson.
Councilmember Barry,
Councilmember Barry?
We're doing roll again.
Here.
Councilmember Del Rosario, Councilmember Hatley,
Here.
Councilmember Pittman,
Here.
Councilmember Simpson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Chan Wilcox,
Here.
Mayor Dahlmeyer.
Here. Thank you. We have a special proclamation this evening recognizing the Salvation Army. Is there somebody here from the Salvation Army? How are you this evening?
Good.
I guess I wore the right color.
Yeah. You got the middle.
Yeah, I did. So this is the proclamation recognizing December 10th, 2016 as the Oroville Salvation Army's Red Kettle Campaign Kickoff Day. I just heard somebody, what was it, 176 hours straight? Rang the bell.
I missed it.
Yeah, it was amazing. So whereas the Salvation Army is known throughout the world for its religious and humanitarian efforts, and whereas this year makes the 26th anniversary of the Salvation Army servicing the community of Oroville, whereas working daily to feed the hungry, help the homeless, treat the addicted, and give hope to the hopeless, the Oroville Salvation Army has touched the lives of thousands of men, women, and children. Whereas the Oroville Salvation Army distributes hundreds of toys, coats, and food baskets each year, making the holidays warmer and brighter for the needy families that would otherwise go without. Whereas the Salvation Army's annual Red Kettle campaign is a time-honored holiday tradition, and its volunteer bell ringers always signal the beginning of the local Christmas season. Whereas, year after year, the Salvation Army offers much-needed community recreation programs, daycare programs, emergency assistance, food, and nutrition. And whereas by providing these community services and offering care and compassion for everyone who enters its doors, the Oroville Salvation Army remains to be the vital and well-respected part of the Oroville community. Now therefore, I, Linda Dahlmeyer, Mayor of the City of Oroville, in concurrence with the Oroville City Council, do hereby proclaim December 10th, 2016 as the Oroville Salvation Army Red Kettle Campaign Kickoff Day in the City of Oroville, and urge the community to support the local service through contributions and volunteering in behalf of our communities less fortunate this holiday season and throughout the year. Signed, Mayor Dahlmeyer. Would you like to say a couple things?
We can't do it without you guys. Without the community, we couldn't do what we do. So we want to say thank you for your support as we help the less fortunate of our community.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. The next, and since I just see them, don't sit down. Don't sit down. Sean and Lori Pierce. Come on up. You can. Come on up. You just missed the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah. Would you like to do the pledge again? You want to help? We'll do it again. All right. You guys come on up here. We have a certificate of appreciation for you guys. I don't know if, I'm sure everybody knows Sean and Lori Pierce, and I'm sorry, the young man. Not every.
Nobody really knows us, though.
They really are kind of unique. Yes, they are. Sean and Lori, I do, yeah. They, I had the opportunity to meet, actually, Lori when I first was running for mayor. And she stopped me on the sidewalk and said a few things to me and gave me her peace of mind. And we've been good friends ever since. So, and then I had the opportunity to meet Sean, and he's very quiet, very sweet. And then at that time, the gray nurse was actually, right. He is sweet. He is a sweet man. That the gray nurse was still not occupied, and it was still a little rough, and it had been about 18 years, right? But lo and behold, with a few handshakes at the city and getting to know some people and breaking through some rough edges on that sweet man and sweet Lori, that that they opened the Gray Nurse, and that if you haven't had the opportunity to see that building and all the love that they've put into it, they're actually living upstairs now, I think. No. Oh, sorry. Don't throw rocks at the upstairs windows, okay? But now he's also working on the building on Montgomery and Myers, and I hope he puts something similar to the Napa General Store, like that, similar to that. Okay, awesome. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. So I still have those pictures I need to get to you. Okay, here's a certificate of appreciation from the City of Oroville. Would like to acknowledge Sean and Lori Pierce for the restoration and renovation of the Gray Nurse Hardware Building in historic downtown Oroville. Now, this is just a certification or a certificate for the one building, but I just want to thank you for all that you're doing in this little town and all of the buildings. We certainly wouldn't be able to be as wonderful without your help. Would you like the microphone? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mayor Dahlmeyer, if I could, the sons of Native Sons of the Golden West would like to just show the plaque they made that they're going to present tomorrow at 5 o'clock at the Gray Nurse.
Okay, let's see it.
They did a beautiful job on it.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Bring it up here. You guys need a picture of this.
Weighs about 300 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
You have a wall that can hold it?
Here. Why don't you set it right on the edge of this and have them have a picture?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, my gosh. You guys want to stand next to it, have a picture with it? Sean, face this way. Face this way.
Lori? You got it?
Okay. That is so. Yeah, it is heavy. Okay, don't break anything. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Tomorrow, there's actually doing a dedication. They're doing a dedication tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. Is it at the Gray Nurse? Okay, at the Gray Nurse. And just for your information, Gray is spelled correctly on this plaque. Don't forget that.
Can you pull anything off the consent?
Okay, is the meeting over?
No, it's just beginning, so you can't leave. Okay, we also had a presentation scheduled from Snyder Real Estate Holding Company, but we're going to postpone that one this evening, so we're moving right along onto the consent calendar. There's a request to pull item number 7. With item number 7 pulled, any questions, comments, or a motion?
Wait, can we pull number 5 and number 10?
Yes. So there's a request to pull number
5,
Five.
7, and 10.
5, 7, and 10.
With those pulled, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
There's a first and second. Voting is open. All votes are in. Does anybody wish to change your vote? Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
Moving on to item number 5, Councilmember Hatley.
Yes, thank you. The city treasurer is in the charter, so we're mandated to have training and certain things that have to go along with this. What I'm pulling this for is there's 2 amounts here, one for $690, one for $1,015. But it says currently there's only $800 available in the budget. And I'm curious which dollar amount are we talking about? And if it's $1,015, where does the additional funds come from?
I've actually applied for a grant from the CMTA for $385, I think that was it, for the registration fee. So the $690 is what it would be with that grant, and I do believe I'm going to get it. They'll let me know in a week or so. So I only put the $690 in it when I did it, and they added the other to show but I know that the budget only has $800.
Okay, so
if I don't get the grant, I'll pay the additional amount.
okay. Well, I was just curious where the other
Yeah.
money was gonna come from, because I was looking at that. That's all I had on that one.
Looking for a motion on item number 5?
So moved.
Second.
First and second. Voting's open. Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
Moving on to item number 7, Councilmember Berry.
Yes, what literature that I did get a review on this made me very skeptical, because I couldn't understand what the cost is going to be for this program. They indicated that we were going to save $280,000 a year, which is almost everything we spend, but it didn't really identify what the cost to save all that would be. And I'm at a loss.
Okay.
If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
We have, the consultant is here, Mr. Burdette is here, and Don, if you want to lay the groundwork first.
And I can have John speak to it. This is John Burdett with ABM Consulting, and he is the one who has done the research thus far and provided the numbers.
Right, and actually, Councilmember Berry, he did a very detailed presentation that covered this, but maybe you can do a synopsis because Councilmember Berry was absent during that presentation.
Okay. So
Keep
what
it
we
short.
do is, yeah, we leverage federal and state grants and incentives and 0% financing money to implement these programs that will save the energy. So what we've done is we've identified 30 energy conservation measures, including solar and energy storage, that we can finance in a budget neutral way, which means there'll be no money out of pocket for the city. And the avoided energy costs will pay for the implementation of all of these measures. Now, if we are unable to source the funding, if we are unable to develop a budget neutral or better project, and if we are unable to guarantee the energy savings with a written performance guarantee, then the city owes nothing. So basically, what the proposal is for at this point is if we do all the engineering, the project development, source the funding, and we show you the path forward to do this without any money out of pocket, then you would move forward with it. If you decide not to for some reason, then we would ask to be reimbursed for our project development and engineering services to date. But it should cost the city nothing. And in fact, we're targeting a significant positive cash flow throughout the program period, and then hopefully capturing that entire utility cost of about $280,000 a year after the program, which could really put a dent in your structural budget deficit.
Well, taking solar, for instance, you might save every bit of the money that you're spending on solar, but the equipment to make that costs something.
Sure does, absolutely.
And where's that money coming from?
That will be brought in either through California Energy Commission 0% loan program. There's PG&E on-bill financing, and or we will arrange for what's called a tax-exempt municipal lease and or a clean renewable energy bond. So the financing mechanism comes in after all of the program costs come in. And what we're going into the next phase now is what's called the investment grade audit. So we'll prepare an investment grade report for the city and for the financiers and the California Energy Commission and PG&E, and then everybody agrees on the savings, including ABM, which will write the written performance guarantee, and then we move forward.
Mr. Barrett,
Does that answer your question?
you know, Mr. Barrett, if I can add, we actually have done something very similar to this on a smaller scale. What we did with PG&E when they came in and replaced about 700 street lights, took them from the old sodium vapor to the new LEDs to save money, and we literally financed that through our payment of what we're paying PG&E for a 7.5-year period. At the end of 7.5 years, we should start seeing a $32,000 savings. There's no cost to us at all other than our regular PG&E bill. But we will see the savings because it's built into our payment of what we're paying. So again, we're into that about 2.5 years now. So in 5 more years, we will actually see a positive savings of $32,000 in energy costs.
So we're not paying any extra?
No.
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 Okay.
They won't put it in, and I believe he made that statement early on. It has to work
Pencil
out
It has to pencil out.
has to pencil out that we come ahead or it doesn't happen.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hold on one second.
Whoa.
Oh, Councilmember Hatley, sorry.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, but we don't see the savings. I mean, we won't see any positive cash flow until the loan, because this is a loan. We're paying a loan, is what it is. It's not a grant. It's not anything. This is a loan that the city is going to be on the hook for. And if that equipment goes down, we have to replace it, whatever, that's on us. And if this loan goes out for 20 years or whatever it is, depending on how much this thing costs altogether, we won't realize really any revenue gain for that whole period. So it isn't like we're gonna get $200,000 every year extra. That's going right out into the payment. And that's what concerns me about this is stuff wears out and new innovations and things come along. And if we're on the hook for a 20-year-old system, at the end of 20 years, it may not be producing anything, and it may be costing us money. And that's what kind of concerns me about this whole thing. It is a loan. Make no mistake about it.
Some of it, I think, and I'm sorry, John, some of it is a loan potentially, but some of it is also grant funding. So again, what they're taxed with to come back here, I mean, they have to come back to us and show us, that they can zero balance this or neutral balance this for us over a period of time. And if they can't do that, we're not on the hook for anything.
That's correct. And we will provide a written performance guarantee to backstop the risk in the event the systems do not operate. So there's a guarantee in place, and we can guarantee all the equipment even. So there's different levels of protection that you can get. And we can guarantee the entire system for 20 years. And if technology changes, especially with solar, if they become more efficient, the panels, which they are, they just get smaller. So in the future, as Oroville grows, I would anticipate the load would grow as well. So in the future, you may have all of the electrical infrastructure in place, and if the panels get more efficient, then basically you would be able to add more capacity in that same footprint.
Right. But it's like buying an extended warranty on your vehicle is what you're talking about, because if that program will cost us extra money if we say, well, we want that guarantee that it's going to be, like you were talking about there. Sure. Well, all that is buying an extended warranty, so there's more money. And I'm just trying to make sure that this pencils out for the citizens, because that's the bottom line. Who's paying for this? And again, it is a loan. And if you go into debt for 3, 4, 5 million, however many millions of dollars this thing's going to cost to save us, want to make sure that we're getting our bang for our buck, and there's no surprises going to come up and get us in a week.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay.
Now, from a cash flow perspective, I just wanted to mention that there are short-term cash flow savings throughout the loan period, and they're not zero, as you may be under the impression. So we can finance this in such a way that you do get positive cash flow. Now, some municipalities and school districts that we work with sometimes take that cash flow and go, hey, I need the new roof, or I need that replaced as well. So it can erode the cash flow depending if you want to add deferred maintenance items to the program that have little or no energy savings. But if you're financing it at 0% at 20 years, there's no compounding of interest. I would say go 30 or 40 years, or the life expectancy of the equipment, whatever's shortest. And that way you keep your payments down, there's no compounding of interest, and you enjoy some savings and maybe some deferred maintenance items that will not hit your general fund.
The other item that I'll mention along the lines of savings, their calculations are all based on a static cost for utilities. Their because you don't know for certain that costs are going to increase from their perspective. So their calculations assume that your energy costs are not going to increase over 20 years, which is not going to happen. Right. So if your energy costs go up from energy that is produced elsewhere, then your savings go up as well by that same amount, because you're producing the energy yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah. So
it's a hedge.
Yeah, so I don't want to say you're hoping that costs go up, because then you'll save a lot more money, because a lot of other people are hurting if costs go up. But the more costs go up in the market,
the greater the savings.
The greater the savings for you.
Okay. And we do have a financial projection or a pro forma that will show that can model various escalation assumptions.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions or comments? Looking for a motion?
Thank you.
Looking for a motion?
I move we approve and move forward.
I'll second that.
Voting's open.
I'm not convinced.
All votes are in. Does anybody wish to change their vote? Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
Item number 10, Councilmember Hatley.
Yes, thank you. With item 10, this is for our human resource director to go to this class. And this is totally funded through the NCCSIF, so there's no cost to the city whatsoever. So I just wanted to make that public record. We're not sending somebody to a conference that is on the taxpayer's dollar. It's not. It's through, and she has to have this because, I mean, with human resources, it's a money drain if we don't do it, because one mistake and it costs us lots and lots of money. But I just wanted it on record so that everybody knew that this was not costing the taxpayer out of the general fund or anything. With that, I would make a motion if there's no other comment.
Councilmember Pittman.
Yeah, I would just add that it's also mission critical because our human resource staff is a staff of one. So if anything, we have to have this information, and when you only have one person in the position, mission critical. With that, I'll second the motion that passes.
First and second, voting's open. All votes are in. Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 11, which is under public hearings. Item number 11, open trench conduit installation ordinance. Mr. Rust.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. Again, what this is for is to, as we start to do a broadband plan or work with broadband companies, this is what's called a dig once. So if there's a trenching going in, and let me do a caveat there, depending on what the utility is. As an example is, I don't know that we'd want to send conduit over a natural gas line that was being installed, just because if there's something happening there. But on other utilities, where we'll have some control over this, that we can plan to put in conduit as companies work on not only our right-of-way, but also city property. So that's what we're trying to do here. So again, this is an ordinance. Looking for support on this. Again, we've talked to Walmart a little bit about doing some back trenching. I think they've contacted the mayor, talked to the mayor about that. We're actually bringing forward a reimbursement agreement with Walmart for some concrete that they did for us between the cemetery and the bus stop that they have there. We're going to get basically a $20,000 credit. Where we need to spend money on conduit, I would suggest instead of getting the money from Walmart, that we use that $20,000 to put into an account to use to provide that conduit that we put in. So again, the idea here is, depending on what the utility is, we need to look at that. There are some exemptions here that can either be the council's call, or you can designate that to somebody else to do that. But really, again, as it talks in the staff report about how broadband and internet service is becoming a critical component, a critical utility for many businesses, property owners, citizens like it. It allows you to download TV programs and bring the world into your house at a faster speed. So that's really what this is all about. Broadband is a very specific either cable or fiber optic component, and I believe we're working with Comcast. The IT manager, I believe the mayor, and a couple other staff people have had meeting with Comcast, trying to work through a process here on bringing a better system to Oroville where we're underserved. Again, last time we had a meeting, we showed a map, I think we can probably pull it up if we need to, where the city of Oroville is underserved. We're not well served, and then we're completely underserved, and then in some of the white spots that we didn't even talk about aren't served by anything. So again, I think this is a critical point, maybe not necessarily today, but as we go forward into the future and computers are more, and really we're there right now, that people are relying on this to bring stuff, downloading it from across the world. You have people designing stuff on the other side of the world for you, and you bring it in through high speed. You need to do it on high speed. So with that, more than happy to answer any questions that the council may
There's
have.
several people in the queue. Councilmember Simpson, then Councilmember Berry. Councilmember Pittman?
Mine's
Yeah,
on.
me, yeah.
Yeah,
Mine is on.
yeah, and then Councilmember Barry.
Oh, I thought you said those two, and okay.
So am I up?
Yes.
Okay. Certainly support this whole concept and idea, because I know many of our business community is paying extensively for very expensive internet connections, which is mission critical to their businesses. The one thing I might ask is, in this trench or conduit work that's put in place that may not be used immediately, but may be in the ground for a decade or so, whatever the case, I'm hoping that the concept here is that it's just not buried at the end of a wire. I'm hoping it's gonna go to a box that has a lid that says City of Oroville on it. That, to me, is gonna be mission critical, so that down the line, when none of us are in this room, somebody can go to that box and simply say, oh, City of Oroville, what is this? There's a number of boxes around Oroville that say fire alarm, and those fire alarm boxes that are underground are our boxes. That's what we identified the old fire alarm system we had, the game wall system. So I think that's kind of critical to this, having it in place. The other thing I think is apropos is I just heard an announcement today that a Japanese bank firm is going to put a $50 billion investment in our internet services and media services in the United States. And that particular company owns Sprint and the other whatever the other internet business is. So Sprint is the huge connection point here in Oroville. The building up on Bird Street is the east-west intertie. So it might be great to be on top of that pile and say, oh, gee, wait, we're ready to go. And our business community, our business districts are in critical need for
Suffering.
this.
Yeah.
They suffer immensely for it, and whatever we can do to help encourage that, we don't need to operate it, but we can certainly have the opportunity to put ditch in place and conduit in place so that it can be pulled later. But it needs to be identified properly and not lost in the.
So if I could just add real quick to that, we'll have to develop a standard that the end of a pipe has a box.
Yeah.
The size of the conduit, whatever it varies.
Sure.
And then, we want to also GPS that. In other words, locate the box so that if it doesn't get conduit right away, we have the location on the GIS system that says where things are,
Right.
how long, beginning and end.
Thank you. Those are the things that I would look forward in the support of that.
Don, can I just do a couple matters of housekeeping real quick?
Sure.
One is, council members, you and we jumped right into it. There is a revised ordinance sitting at the dais for each of you. For members of the public, there is a copy over here. And as Don mentioned, the purpose of this is multiple fold, but one of them is, it's a hassle to keep tearing up streets every time somebody wants to run something. So the idea is, you open it up. Once anybody comes in saying, we want to open up a trench in a street, you then invite every other utility that's out there to say, would you like to put something in that trench as well? So that you open up a street one time. You may have, for example, if we open up a trench, if PG&E says we're opening up a trench, you may have Verizon that says, hey, we'll put some conduit in there. Now, it may be empty today, but they may take advantage and say, we'll go ahead and put conduit in. You may have, a different electric company say, yeah, us too. A cell phone company, yeah, us too. And other, internet service providers may say, hey, we'll put fiber in. So you offer it to anybody that wants to put something in the street, with the caveat, and the city will have the same opportunity, with the caveat that okay, you do it, you coordinate all together. There's one dig. These conduits go in at the same time. You know where they are. You know their placement, and then you don't have to dig up the street again anytime somebody else wants to pull something through the conduit. That's one benefit. The other benefit is, you are correct, Councilmember Pittman. We don't want to be in the internet service providing business. Having said that, if we have conduit there and someone says we want to be in that business, we can then lease them the space underneath the street where we already have conduit. They just have to come in and pull lines. It's very easy to do. This is a longer-term plan to get high speed and hopefully fiber all around the city. I'm not gonna exaggerate and say, oh, in a matter of a year or two, we're gonna have fiber and internet everywhere. You're not. But this plan over the long run, had this been done 15 years ago, you would.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
using the old proverb, the best time to plant a tree was, 50 years ago. The next best time is today.
30 years ago, when we put the water lines in on Feather River and South Fifth, when Simpson and I were dropping pipe, if we'd have put conduit in, we'd have had it all over industrial unit 2.
Yep.
But we just didn't think about it. It's that simple.
And again, 15 years ago, if you'd have done this, your roads wouldn't be as bad off as they are because we've got holes, we've got trenches, or just utilities everywhere, and you can see it in the road surfaces.
Councilmember Berry, then Councilmember Hatley.
Earlier, you mentioned something about Walmart and putting conduit down. Was this in relationship to that?
It sort of started there, but again, Walmart, we talked to Walmart about putting it in back a curb, back a sidewalk. They've come back. Their contractor has provided a bid, which is a bid that's probably a little too big for Walmart wants to help the city of Oroville. Walmart is extremely happy with the progress and the way that the superstore is going since we've got the go-ahead to go.
Well, the only reason I ask is weren't there plans to do some construction at Feather River and Ore Dam?
There
to
still is.
realign the intersection?
Yes. Yes, there is.
All right.
Yes.
That pretty much answers it. Thanks.
Is there going to be a trench there?
What Mr. Berry is referring to is you guys led a contract to realign Ore Dam and Feather River. There's going to be a right turn lane that is dug in front of Wendy's on Ore Dam Boulevard. The run there is going to be a couple 100 feet. We can put conduit there, but it's only going to be a 200-foot stretch of conduit, but we can do that. There isn't going to be much trenching in that intersection improvement. It's more striping that is going to go on.
Councilmember Hatley.
Thank you. Well, that was my question. Anytime we open up, if we're gonna do some sewer work and we're opening up our trenches and that, cause I know you can't run, you certainly can't run domestic water and sewer in the same ditch. So,
That's right.
although they do it they did it years ago and
There's a
found
reason
that
why
out
you
the
don't
hard
do
way
it.
at a house I own, but, the thing is, every time we open up a ditch, if the city opens one up, again, are we going to be responsible then for putting in conduit with this ordinance? Or if a private citizen comes in and says, I'm gonna open a ditch up to whatever, for whatever reason, that they're gonna have to put that in if it's on the right of way or anything, if they're hooking to something?
They can, and again, that's
But that's their prerogative?
Yes, we do have that prerogative, absolutely. So, again, again, if a private citizen comes in and is putting something in that runs 100 feet, are we want to, we're going to add the cost of the conduit, but do we want to have the additional expense of either widening the ditch or something like that? We have some ability and some exemptions, that will either be by, the Public Works Director, the City Administrator, or the Council that can waive those or, make those not occur. Or where you actually do want something to happen, again, we want the developer to do that or the development to do that.
I realize this is more for developers than it is for a private
Yes.
house or something, but the thing is, I just want to make sure that if we do an ordinance, we either have an ordinance or we don't have an ordinance.
Absolutely.
And it either, but again, and I mentioned this before when we went through all that fee stuff, if somebody wants to fight that, I hope they're not gonna have to pay $1,100 to come in here and talk to this board because they elected us to sit up here, and I'll be darned if you should have to pay if you're a private citizen to come in here and talk to us. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I wanna make sure that they're protected on that. And I don't care whether they're a businessman, I don't care if they're a private, a homeowner or whatever. That, to me, if this ordinance goes through, and that's fine, but I want to make sure that the people are protected, that it's not just well, I like you, so you don't have to do it, or we're going to do it for you. It better be pretty spelled out and
maybe
across the board.
and maybe what we do in the standards or in the ordinance that we say that single family, if you're constructing a single family home, not a subdivision of
Right,
single
right.
family, but if that you're exempt from this ordinance, if you'd like to add that.
Well, let me tackle this one because I think we already have that baked into this. Let me just read a piece of this real quick and remember.
But we just got it when we sit down here. So again, I don't like having this when I get something when I sit down and we're trying to conduct a meeting, and now we've got to try and read and listen, and it just
Understand.
doesn't make sense to me, but
And
whatever.
let me tell you, the reason, I'm fully on board with that. The reason why we decided to move ahead with this is because all ordinances require 2 readings anyway. So you have the first reading, this has to come back for another meeting, and if you want to revise the language at the next meeting, we can do that.
Okay.
But here's what you have. You have in section 3, it says, in recognition of the need to provide city residents, businesses, yada, 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 with the infrastructure required to meet telecommunication needs, all construction, reconstruction, or repaving of a city right-of-way will include provisions for the installation of telecommunications cable, conduit, and other related equipment wherever practical and feasible. Now, if I'm a homeowner, let me just give you an example. I'm a homeowner, and I'm on a septic system, and I want to tap into the city's sewer.
Right.
I'm going to open up the street. This provision requires me to contact the city and say, hey, city, send out I'm pulling a permit. City sends out a notice to Verizon, PG&E, anybody that we know that may be interested, and we'll tell them, if you want to put conduit in front of that one property,
Go for it.
here's your opportunity, go right ahead.
Okay.
It is not the obligation of the resident to put in the conduit. It is not the obligation of the resident to pay for the conduit. It is the obligation of the resident to tell the city, I'm gonna open up the street.
Right.
So city, you go and tell these utility companies, if they want to be here, they have to call me. That's how this works.
Well, see-
This is not a, hey, resident, you have to put the stuff in.
Okay.
It's just giving the opportunity.
Because when we don't get this in advance to read this and be able to get to these questions, then we have to take time to do it here, because I'll tell you right now, I haven't read this.
Yep.
Because I just got it when I sat down, and it was like, well, I had other things that, so I appreciate you saying that, because that's what I'm interested in. I thought, if you're just talking about an ordinance and you say, well, you just have to put it in, well, that to me sounds like if private citizens doing something. Now that you've explained it and I read it here, now that you show me the section and I've had time to look at it, okay, I'm on board with it.
Where you see the big benefit of this is when you have a company, and a power company, and I'll pick on PG&E again, where they're gonna come in and replace their lines along, hypothetically speaking, from Oro Dam, from one end of Oro Dam to the other. And they're gonna open up a trench 2 feet wide all the way down the whole thing. That's where you really get the biggest bang for your buck, so to speak, with this ordinance, where we're then able to tell all the other utility providers, phone providers, internet providers, hey, if you want a conduit, here's your opportunity to put it in. Coordinate with PG&E, get it in there. Many communities have, after adopting this ordinance, follow it up with, if you don't take an opportunity to do this, when you open up the street in the future, because every time you cut open a road, you shorten the lifespan of that road, what they then come in and say is, we'll let you do it, but you're gonna repave the whole road. Because we're not gonna let you shorten the lifespan of the road over and over and over and over, and then the residents have to eat that expense of then repaving it. So they'll say, okay, listen, if you have an opportunity and you don't take it, we'll let you do it, but you're gonna repave the whole road and make it new again.
Okay.
So I'm the last one in the queue because I have a few things I'd like to say about this. We started down this road a while back, actually almost a year ago, and recently it's come full circle with a major disappointment with Walmart. And they had an open trench, and supposedly they sent an open trench letter like they do in all the communities that they go to the utilities. According to Comcast, once again, that's what they're accustomed to, that they got what was called an open trench invitation, because they always do. Well, the day I visited the site, the trenches were filled and there was no conduit. I have till the 16th. Instead of accepting the $20,000, it's more to me that we have tried to work together with Walmart and Comcast to make this happen, and it's a bigger gesture of goodwill to allow us to use the trenches that are there, because they do still have a landscaping trench that will be open. It's disappointing that we have worked so closely with Walmart, and to have this happen at the 11th hour. And unfortunately, it even falls on to the city that not staying on top of it to see to it that it was done. It's difficult to see that expanse of space have zero broadband capabilities because we didn't take the time to put the conduit in the trenches when we could. And we called Comcast, but it was one of those things. They said, well, we got the letter, because they always get an open trench letter, and it didn't get done. And Walmart filled their ditches without, so it really has been, I mean, all I could do was cry. I mean, it was like a mountain bigger than, because we had got them to go down Feather River, Comcast. But now the length, if you stand out there and see the length of that Walmart, going down both ways. I mean, JR and I both sit at the SCORE meeting, their phones and internet go out. If we could get internet down that side of Walmart, close to Fifth Avenue, we could use some of our $3.4 million infrastructure fund to help dig trenches the rest of the way. We can't, it's just, it's been a difficult process, to say the least. Hence why we're gonna have this, so it doesn't ever happen again, but it does put the responsibility on the city to, it's called the open invitation. Most cities have them. Most large companies say we're gonna have open trenches, and Walmart being one of them. I'm still looking for that open trench letter that they said they sent.
So are we, I think. I've
No.
never seen it.
No, they're not. So I'm personally looking for it. And that I've received the phone calls from Walmart, and I'm still in conversation with Comcast, but they're closing their window on the 16th of this month. So unless I have city help, it's not gonna happen. And I'm not willing to just take a $20,000 thank you check at this moment in time. Because we've spent months trying to make this happen, and I don't necessarily think that we've done everything that we can to make it, so I'm continuing to work on it.
Have they shown a copy of the,
I'm
of the
calling,
letter? They haven't?
not yet. So if they didn't send it, I'm gonna take it up with Walmart. We'll take the $20,000 at that point if they didn't send it, because it's too late. But if they did send it, then I'll take it up with Comcast, because Comcast didn't come and do it. But the reality is, this is what this is, and this has just been a very frustrating situation as a whole, to not have all people working on the same page, trying to see if we can make this work. So with that said, I'm going to open this up for public hearing. This item is open for public hearing. Does anybody in the audience wish to speak to item number 11, open trench conduit installation ordinance? Anybody? Public hearing is closed. Looking for a motion, please?
I move that we, pass the open trench ordinance, or dig once ordinance. Waive the first reading and introduce by title only ordinance 1818.
That's good.
Second that motion.
Thank you. All votes are in. Anybody wish to change their vote? Voting closed.
The motion has passed.
Thank you. Moving on to regular business, Community Development Department, item number 12, 2017, new mayor and council members academy. provide direction as necessary. Anybody want to give direction? This looks like it's just information only. Vice Mayor Wilcox?
I had a question on the agenda or on the information provided. It says self-parking is $20 per day, and the registration fee per resident is, or per registrant is $575, so it's $595 per person. Shouldn't the $20 have been for a total of $60?
Actually, if you add $595, it gives you additional $60. So it's basically each registrant, there are three.
$575 and 20 is $595.
Right, right,
So
that's
an additional
$20, and there's 3
$40.
days, it's a 3-day event.
Right.
So it's
but-
$60 for parking then.
Right,
Yes.
$60 for parking
So it
rather
should
than
be-
20. Should be for an additional $40?
It's an additional $60, it's 3 days, the 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Right, well, we
Times
already
20.
had 20 on
Right.
the,
It's 20 per day,
right,
so I'm just adding 595. The $20 to each just tried to make the math easy, apparently it wasn't that easy,
right.
right? So, again, if you take out,
Oh, it's $20 per day per registrant,
right,
but
no, it's $20 per day per car. We're only taking one car.
Oh, you're only taking one car?
Okay.
Okay, that wasn't clear to me. Thank you.
Councilmember Simpson?
Yeah, it's, give directions, so we don't do nothing with this, what happens? They go?
They don't go, or we won't fund it, they would have to go on their own. So what I'm looking for is the council direction to allow the 3 new council members to go to this event. Again, I think this event is important because it talks about, procedures that you
Right.
normally go through for not just Oroville, but every city. And then ultimately, when we come back from this, or before we go to it, we want to do a City Hall 101
Yeah.
event for all council members, including the 3 new council members.
To me, going to Sacramento to get directions on how to run the city of Oroville is a bunch of bull. I don't think it is worth the trip, and I'm totally against it. They can learn it here.
Again, this isn't the city of Sacramento giving direction. This is the League of California Cities.
California cities.
So again, what it is it's their academy. They do this for city administrators, planners, engineers. They do this for all. And again, all it's doing is showing you trends, networking with other people, just kind of giving them a leg up.
It's
on-
valuable. It's very valuable.
And then for us, just so that we show what we do here in the city, we're gonna do a City 101 on, sort of each department head will talk about what they do in their departments, how we move things forward, how agendize, how you would get something on the agenda. Again, I think it helps, but.
Well, that helps. To have the city 101 is great.
Right.
But I just don't believe in the Sacramento trip. I just don't think it's worth it.
Well, what was originally in here, I had somebody write this for me. They actually wrote in that they would spend the night. We're not going to spend the night there. It's only an hour away, so we're going to drive down and drive back. So that's how that. Again, it's up to you guys. That's why I'm asking for direction. I didn't buy tickets yet, so that's.
I think it's valuable. We've all gone. When I became a brand new mayor, there was 4 or 5 of us that went.
You ever been?
And I found it very valuable. Actually, we got to meet the governor,
Brown,
you
that's
know,
right.
the governor, and we ended up having a private meeting with the governor that time, so,
Well, that's when you invited the governor to Oroville.
yeah,
I guess he came through, didn't he?
he did. He
I
came
kind of
through.
challenged him in the opening, and he invited us to his room, but
Councilmember Del Rosario?
I had a conversation with Councilmember Hatley about this, and what he said made sense to me. But then I talked to Don about it, and I really believe that it gives them an opportunity because there are 3 of them. When I went by myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone to discuss anything with. I didn't have anyone to help me fill in the paragraphs I was missing. and it was not that helpful to me. But the three of them are going together, and they're going with Don Rust, who is also very good about filling in information. So I really think this is a worthwhile trip, and they have done a lot to cut the cost on it. And so I'm really looking forward to the idea of them going, and I will vote for this.
So this says provide direction as necessary. Does it look like we need a vote? Is that what it appears to be?
No.
Consent, concurrence?
Consensus, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the new council members need to go. It's their only opportunity to. Well, it's all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
All opposed? 5-2.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Sorry, JR. Item number 13, professional service agreement with Ghirardelli Associates for qualified professional civil engineer services.
Thank you,
Have we
Madam
already
Mayor.
Has this already come through?
This already came through, but we're adding an additional, some additional monies, and I'd like to add some comments. Again, the funding sources here are for the engineer. We talked about using the engineer, but actually there's $114,000 in the reimbursement agreement for engineering consulting services. So we're going to use that.
Right.
That will cover most of this, but the funding that's in here in this staff report will still be needed to cover some stuff. Ghirardelli has been extremely important for us to bring this project back on track, helping Ruth and I, mostly Ruth, on how to get reimbursed, our reimbursement here, instead of waiting 6 or 12 months like we've done on other jobs, that actually Ruth has sent in a reimbursement already. We've reimbursed Thermalito for the water line. The water line has been completed. Again, one of the last times I talked about the water line, there was a problem with the water line. The water line has been fixed. And what happened was there was a gate valve that if you, they call it a sweet spot, and I'm sorry to use that term, but you have to get it into a sweet spot, and if you over-rotate it to close it, it will crack the valve and allow it to leak, and that's why they couldn't get pressure. So ultimately, the water line is in and done. Again, we're looking to do some additional things there, hopefully to get this open sooner than later. One of the things that, and again, I'm talking about stuff that isn't in the staff report. So again, this is an additional $75,000 that is part of the reimbursement and or money that would be used for Mr. Walls, our former city engineer and or the former associate engineer.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Looking for a motion on item number 13.
I would make a motion that we pass item 13 as agendized.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Voting's open.
I voted before I seconded it.
All votes are in. Does anybody wish to change their vote? Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
Scheduling for July 2017 City Council meeting. Staff report.
Yes, Mayor and City Council, we have been working on preparing our upcoming calendar for City Council meetings, which do fall on the first and third Tuesday of every month. However, we came upon a meeting which would fall on July 4th. So we are requesting for council to give us direction on whether you would like to black out that meeting on the first meeting in July. Would you like to move it to the following working day, which would be July 5th?
You know, we've had this discussion a couple of times about some areas actually take at least a month off in the summer, or at least one of the meetings off. The county goes dark one month in the summer, don't they? I mean, I could see not having the one meeting in July, at least, and we can come back. We've talked about this,
Yes.
scaling it down to maybe one meeting a month through the summer months or something like that.
Right. What I would say on this one here in particular is July 4th falls on the Tuesday, so that that's the first meeting in July, and then the very next day, the SBF has a meeting that day. So if you're moving one to the 5th, you got to move the other to the 6th. And I mean, it really, what we're looking for is direction from the council, what fits best. So again, we can black it out, we can move it to the 5th. If we move that to the
Why don't you leave it till January when you got the 3 new people coming on and they can say, hey, we want to change it. We want to have it Monday. We want to have it Wednesday.
Because Jamie's trying to set the calendar for next year, all of the meetings.
3 weeks.
So what we want to do, if I can answer this question, what we'd like to do on July 3rd is adopt the calendar for 2017. And again.
I mean, on January 3rd.
I'm sorry, thank you. July, yes, January. I get my J's confused there. So again, again, as we come forward on that day, we're trying to set the calendar for the year. If you want us to delay that, we will. We can do that. So again, again, just looking for direction here, however you want us to do this.
I think we ought to satisfy the charter's intent, which means 2 meetings a month. So in July, if you move that 4th meeting to the 11th.
Excuse me, Dave, the charter I think says 1 meeting, doesn't it? Charter says 1 meeting.
The charter says at least 1 meeting per month.
1 meeting.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying for conduct of business, and that's your first meeting for the new fiscal budget.
Right.
I would suggest that you move it to the following Tuesday, the 11th. That way, at least, it may be a short meeting, but at least you have the meeting so that you can rely upon it. I think the public expects us to have 2 meetings a month, as we normally do, and it should be appropriate to have it then, and then the other scheduling follows it. But I wouldn't black it out, because that
You
causes
actually,
too many-
that
Go ahead.
month, that meeting is, you're required to adopt the budget, that meeting.
Right,
On
exactly.
the first
That's-
meeting in July.
So you got a couple charter things there, I think, which should nicely be satisfied by having the meeting. I wouldn't black it out. I would suggest it move to the 11th. And I understand the scheduling purposes, because you're trying to put it in for a whole year, and it would be appropriate to do that. My suggestion.
We can always change it. Councilmember Hatley?
Well, thank you. I agree with Councilmember Pittman. We need to have 2 meetings. We have enough business to farther enough, and plus, now you're right there at budget time again, and some serious issues that we're gonna be dealing with, and we're gonna need every meeting we can get. So let's move it somewhere. I don't care what date, but we need to move, but we still need to have the 2 meetings, in my opinion.
It's a 5-week month too, isn't it?
I'd have to look at a calendar, but
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's only, well, it doesn't overlap. You still have 4 Tuesdays.
So they'll be back-to-back, the 2 meetings?
Yes.
yes, they
It
would.
would be back to back. But in August, you have a 5 Tuesday month.
Again, you start moving too many things, then you're.
Yeah, no,
don't want
that's
to-
why
right.
it was,
I think it's critical for the fiscal budget to be addressed in July. It just.
okay, the 11th. Anybody have any other questions on that? So moved.
So moved.
Thank you.
Council and committee reports? Anybody?
I have a quick question. In correspondence, we have an attached letter at the back on a alcohol and beverage license, and it indicates the location of the business at 652 Ludd's Way, indicating it's inside the city limits. I'm not aware that is inside the city limits, is it?
Not that I know of.
No, it says on the application, so you might go back and check that one to make sure. I don't know if you.
I'm not sure why these even come to council. This is
Right.
course of normal business, so unfortunately they make it here, and I will look into it though.
It just noted to me that is the premises inside city limits, and it says yes, and Ludd's Way, I think, is fairly outside the city limits,
Yeah.
if I'm correct, so
Interesting.
you might check that and have that note go back to alcohol beverage.
Vice Mayor Wilcox?
I have a comment to make, and maybe this should come back to the council on a future agenda. I'm not quite sure, but I've received a lot of phone calls from merchants in the downtown area regarding parking by those attending the Lyman's College. And what's happening is that they're out of class at 1, and then on weekends, they're there they don't have classes on Friday, so they're there Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and they're utilizing all the parking lots, which affects the downtown merchants.
So on Friday, I also received some calls from business owners on that, and I also talked to Mr. Tracy about this. Mr. Tracy knows that he probably needs an agreement with the city on parking for this. He talked about leasing several properties, the levy, several other areas. So Mr. Tracy, I don't think is in the audience and won't be here on the 20th either, because he's doing something for the holidays. But we'll bring back a staff report on this, and we will coordinate or try to work out with Mr. Tracy on how we can deal. And again, right now, there are only half the linemen here. It'll get a little bit thicker, or more, there'll be more parking. So I think we can work out something with them. My suggestion would be currently the Muni parking lot, because it really is underutilized except for on a couple festival days. So we work out some kind of agreement that says, you know, you can use that parking lot, and then basically for a couple festivals, you'll need to make other arrangements or something like that. And I will bring something back that the council can look at.
Okay.
And, you know, the merchants were also concerned because this is the holiday season. And, you know, we push Shop Oroville first, so it's really difficult for them. And like I said, I wanted to bring that up, especially since I, you know, won't be sitting from the dais in the future. And I know that that was one of their biggest concerns. I've been their liaison for, you know, the past 8 years with the DBA, so.
All I can say is we talked to Mr. Tracy about this prior to November 22nd. So.
Okay, thank you.
I have a short report. Interestingly, we don't even know what to call it yet, but it's the Rabe Road Shooting Educational Range. There is progress being made, and there's a lot of nice things happening with that concept. I would hope to, in the next year or so, or 6 months, I'm going to stay on that committee and that group with helping Joe Ryan move forward. It'll probably be called the North State Educational Sportsman's Facility. Huge interest by the school district. There's a lot of high school districts that are looking to have trap and skeet clubs, and they've been looking for a place, and all of a sudden when they saw the opportunity, it's excited people. In fact, we have a couple meetings with the board, the Butte County Board and then the school board to deal with that. So look for that to come around. I'll be back with that one. Hopefully that'll be nice to see.
All right.
Pass that over to Phil, will you, please?
Okay, actually, I've got something to say that the city was invited to a volunteer appreciation dinner for the Hmong New Year, and Chief Lagrone was missed, but Councilmember Berry and myself showed up, and it was a lot of fun, and they enjoyed having us. So it was it's always good. Always good, and the food is always awesome. So, that was that.
We had the tree lighting ceremony.
Oh, that's right.
Are you officiated?
I lit the tree. I had my Mickey Mouse hat on. Yep. Did downtown, so sang with the kids, and the tree lit. I have to say, though, those little LED lights are not as sparkly as I like them to be, but it's still nice. Okay, moving on.
I also attended the lot home party that they had on the 4th.
Yes.
Mistletoe.
Yeah.
All right. City administration. Anybody?
I have none.
I have a couple. Ruth, do you have anything? Okay. Just a couple things. Again, the BRCP, the elected officials meeting is December 6th. I believe the mayor knows about that. They are going to... 16th, December 16th. They are going to have a couple of Oroville project examples.
Right.
Okay, and we're still working with the chamber to do a workshop here in town on that whole thing. I won't be on town that day. Luis and/or Don will attend that with you if you would like.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be good for them, actually. That was very,
yes,
very interesting. Nice facility too.
And they will learn something from that. Also, on December 14th, a week from this Wednesday, is the holiday party for the city. So it'll be held out at the golf course, I believe, right, Jamie? The golf course. Yep. And that also just a note.
What time is that, Don?
The holiday party.
It's a luncheon, right?
Yes, it's a luncheon from 11 to 1.
Okay.
11 to 1. Oh, on the Sam Norris, I think we're talking about that on the 3rd, unless you have something. What I'd also like to just give a council update, this may be the first time that we did it, but Public Works is now scheduling street sweeping out in the south side. So we're making sure that we're getting everywhere in the city, so just a heads up for the council on that.
Okay. Okay, correspondence is attached. Hearing on non-agenda items. Does anybody wish to speak on a non-agenda item before we go into closed session again? All righty. We're gonna reconvene to closed session, and if you leave, have a happy evening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Don't come in and make the rest of us sick. Oh, I know. Well, him and Amy.
Just writing it? I'll take it and put it in my office. Oh, I was putting some paperwork in there, and then
I'll let you know.
I'll have to update these two.
Sure.
But I got the contract ready.
I'll get the time for you.